Welcome everybody, and we're having a look at the Dark Rose Divination deck once again. Not sure if my chat's going to work, not sure if everything else is going to work. Facebook have offered up a few new things in their video live. I haven't checked them out, but I did see the change in tools. There's share screens. It's a game changer for me because share screening means I can do so much more. The deck we're looking at is the Dark Rose Divination deck, my own deck, developed and recently published, 78 cards, which gives you the numbers for the tarot, but it's not a tarot deck. It's not even close to a tarot deck, and it's not meant to be a tarot deck either. So as you look at the cards, there are a few things in how you read them. I often, in groups that I'm members of, and I mentor in a few tarot groups, I'm often shown, and I have to say, one of the interesting things, I don't know if this is streaming or not streaming, but these cards are really intense color-wise. What you're seeing on the screen there is a really washed out version, which is okay, except for before I fired up Facebook, when I was just looking at the camera to make sure they were set up right, the colors were perfect. So I don't know really what that's about, whether that's a Facebook thing or whether it's a streaming thing, although I haven't had it with YouTube. Hey, Michelle, good to see you this week. One of the interesting things that comes up quite a lot is about reading reversals, and I think it's important to understand reversals and what they mean, what they are. A reversal gives you an opportunity to look at a meaning differently. If you're looking at a picture, you may notice different things when a card's reversed, which I know when I'm a painter, I'm an artist, and when I paint, I know that if I turn things around a little bit, there are things I notice when I'm not drawn to the whole picture, or when my brain's not rationalizing the image. It becomes something quite simple to just look at it in reverse. The other side of it would be in a card, say this card, if I pulled that reverse, I would suggest there was some work needing to be done or something not quite right around the healing aspect of your life. It might mean too that you're not paying attention to it when you should. Of course, this will depend on other cards. And if you go and have a look at my event from last week, you'll see me showing and demonstrating a variety of layouts. I won't be quite going down that track this week because, you know, why? I just did it. But you can always go and pick up the book, Dorothy Holder's Guide to Reading Cards, which shows a whole pile of things about symbols, imagery, picking up different types of layouts. I've put quite a lot in there, and how to use them so that any deck of cards you've got can have a bit more going on for you. So reversals. There are so many people out there. I just find it gobsmacking, really, that sit there and make these big discussions about reading reversals and not reading reversals. And if you don't want to, don't read them. You hear lots of teachers saying that. Well, I kind of disagree. If you've got a card of 78 cards, you've got a lot of information in there. You really do. No matter what deck you're using, it's a lot of information. As soon as you use reversals, you've just doubled that layer of information. So if you lay out 3 cards, do you mind if I do one for you there, Michelle? If you want a reading, just throw out a subject matter that interests you, Michelle, and I'll do a little layout. And I'm just going to do a 4-card layout to show you. The chances are good we won't get a reverse card, just to show it. So I will demonstrate that if we don't. But it shows you how it can change the whole layout. It's not just that card itself. It can direct you to things. Now, I've never been one who thinks that you should just lay cards out to have a future reading, and the past, present, future thing just does my head in. If you're asking about if somebody is attracted to you, or if this is going to go forward, if this is going to go well, where does the past come into that when you're looking at now? If the past is an argument you've had, you're there now. That's not the past anymore, is it? So it becomes, to me, a very subjective arena. A lot of people learning cards, so a lot of students, my students, all in the past, struggle with those. In fact, I get so many questions. So have you got an area you'd like me to look at, Michelle? Because if you do, I will. I'm so accommodating. You'll see all my curtains are closed, and it's because the sun and the day is so beautiful out there, and it's bright, which it usually is, and so you wouldn't be able to see me at all. And the choice of where I could sit is a little bit, you know, look at my kitchen and my kitchen cups. I didn't really want to go there for you. So I thought, oh, well, shut the curtains and we'll all sit in the half dark. Hey, Drita, it's good to have you here. So if you've got a subject, Michelle, if you can just type that in to the comments, then I will be able to address that specifically. I'll just keep shuffling till you type. I actually find shuffling to be very pleasant and very calming, and I just enjoy shuffling. Sometimes that's all you need is just to keep your hands busy and allow that. Thank you so much, Drita. So pretty. And we'll throw in a card for you there, or a few cards. So we're looking at 3 or 4 cards for Michelle at the moment, and here we go. Starting my own business. Perfect. And so what we do there is, Michelle, I will split the deck. Stopped as soon as I saw that. That's the Harari principle, which those who were watching last week's video, I did a Harari layout, which is my own. I've got my own layouts. I've got quite a few, and again, they're in the book. But the Harari one is a really exciting layout. I really like it. It's based all on current energy going forward. We have an energy that goes forward. If we don't believe in something, say, for example, if you don't believe you're good enough to do a particular job, even if you see that job, you're not going to go for it. It's as simple as that. And so once you release those kind of energies, or once you motivate through it, you get each stage of your progression. And I'm all about progression this year. It's 2020. Everything's about progression. It's not about the end game. Years and years I've done readings for people that are looking for, and still this year, they're looking for the end game. Is this going to work? Is that going to work? Well, who cares? If it takes 2 years to get to where it does work or it fails, it's that 2 years that counts, not that moment. If you didn't enjoy yourself to that moment, the fact that it worked or the fact that it paid off won't make you want to hang on to it. A big deal I've got about that is the New Zealand guy who created 42 Below, which is a vodka white spirits company. He did everything. He nearly lost his house. His wife had to work and support him. He did everything in his whole repertoire of what can I do to get that off the ground. And it took him a lot of years. I think it was 7 years, 8 years, something like that, off the top of my head. When he finally gets it off the ground, it's finally selling, it's moving along. And of course, in his own words, he was like, you know, he felt guilty. He felt terrible that his wife had to pick up the slack, that they've mortgaged the house. You know, that was their safety net, if you like. They're getting into their 50s, mid-50s, and here they are with all of this debt. And although his product's now selling, it's not relieving that feeling or that sense of feeling, and it hasn't sort of resolved the debt. Then he had an offer by Bacardi, who bought him out, and he just took that money, and he's running that company, or was running it for a couple of years after that, and it relieved everything for him. The interesting thing here was that, you know, it's too long a time to not enjoy your life. And that's how I see that he would have ended up doing something anyway, but maybe he could have found a way to do it better. And a Harari reading allows you to see that. Oops, we hit an obstacle here. Why? Next card. Oops, I can see that I would do that or not do this. Draw another card, and each one is a progression. You're going forward month by month, week by week if it's a smaller manifestation, and you're seeing where your pitfalls are. And pretty much you can guarantee, outside of extremes, most of our time frame constrictors are caused by us. So we've got current influences, starting your own business. So that's a bit blurry, but I stopped on the starting my own business, so we'll see what's in play there. We'll do the draw. Now I'm going to draw 4 cards for it. I think it's a good enough question. Addiction. Dreams. There's our reversal. I started the show talking about reversal and how one reverse card, no matter what your cards are, can alter everything around them. So it's really important. Now, there's understanding things with cards too. Yes, you can hold your card deck upside down. If they all come out reversed, just turn them around. If they all come out reversed and there's one upright, turn that one around, and so that they're all facing the way they probably should be facing. So here we've got it. And I love one thing about reversing my camera is that you see it the way I'm seeing it, which is really nice. I don't have to twist it around. So we've got addiction, we've got dreams reversed, we've got inner child, and we've got beginning. This is around starting your own business. And addiction is really about habits. And we never say we're addicted to a good habit, do we? So maybe you need to resolve something within there, because it is directly impacting your dreams. It is definitely holding off the dream. Sometimes we get a bit gun shy. You know we've got to take a risk, but we don't want to, so we want everything in place first. That doesn't work. And in fact, I've just done that thing about progression. If you do something every single day that takes you to the dream, you will reach the dream. There isn't any maybes around that. If you do nothing to put yourself in the way of the dream, or very little, then it will take forever, or it may never happen, or it'll certainly take a longer time. So time frames I'm finding are very important in the type of questions I've been asked at the beginning of this year for the readings that I do. I've put a link to the cards up at the very beginning there if anybody wants to go and have a look at them all. Such big, beautiful cards. I wish you could see the colours, because the colours, she's bright red here, bright red everywhere. So the healing that needs to take place, or I'm drawn to the heart and the cobweb. It's almost like there's a certain amount of stuff that you kind of know in your head, but you're not necessarily popping it out there. You're not necessarily allowing yourself to push through those barriers. They could simply be fear, which is okay. Fear is okay. You have to excuse my arm because my chat doesn't move all by itself. Hiya, Mia. Hiya, Mary. Mary, quite contrary, which she isn't. She's lovely. I shouldn't have even gone there. Our Mary. So, Michelle, this is something for you to think about, that old habits, or habits that aren't necessarily helpful in achieving the dream, are slowing your progress down. They're holding the dream at bay, and that's what it feels like to me. And it's annoying. It feels, I'm not annoyed, it feels annoying. It feels a tricky thing. It feels like, I wish there was a way I could just do that from over here, a remote. Thank you so much, Mags. Have you you've seen the photos, but I mean in this video, they don't show, unless you guys are seeing it differently to me. I see the cards here, and I'm looking at what you're seeing over there, and it just doesn't look anywhere near it, not even close. But that's all good. And Florida, nice and warm in Florida. Hiya, Brittany. Yes, you can have a card, but just, Brittany, remember to come back, because I'm doing this in order of appearance. So we've got Michelle. We'll go to Drita after that. And you've asked next, but if any of the other two that were here first, Mary, if you want one, and Mags, just put your name out there. But know that I will forget. So as you see me nearing the end of Drita, pop your name in there and remind me again. So inner child is also affected by dreams. So it may be that your younger you, or the child you, had a vision for your life, and it's just not happening, and you may be getting a little negative on it, and that's something to really, really take note of, because I'm getting the negativity in the dream, not the dream itself being negative, but when negative thoughts go into our mind in relation to what we're trying to create in the future, they get in the way. They prevent us from starting what we need to start, stopping what we need to stop. They prevent us from behaving in the way that we would like to behave. And so I think that these two cards are preventing your dream from coming true. Since you're asking about starting your own business, I think time frame wise, if you want to speed things up, you just need to do it. Oh, I can't do that. I've got to do that. So I'll hold that up for you. You just need to do it. See the bird flying into the mouth, or looking into the mouth of the urn there for you, Michelle. The interesting thing is there's a fence there, and there's a post. But in actual fact, the urn is lying on it. It's like a farmer's fence. You know, they've just got battens and they've got barbed wire. The urn is lying on it. That's sort of like a stile. It makes it easy for you to get over. So it's sort of getting over that hurdle of starting. You know, there's a beginning, but once you start and you commit to an action, then you start the progression. What do I need to do tomorrow? What do I need to do tomorrow? What do I need to do tomorrow? Every single day. What do I need to do tomorrow to get where I'm going? Step over that hurdle of beginning. Beginning anything is a hurdle, right? And there's all these ways to get over these hurdles. For you, it's just do it, I think. It's just jump. I think, you know, I do know Michelle's situation, so I'm not going to pretend this is clairvoyant as such, but I do know you've been through the mill. Having said that, that shouldn't stop you continuing to go, because you've sort of been through what I consider to be the worst that you're likely to go through, to be honest. And so if you've been through the worst, then what comes after that? You can only go up, and you're not really taking a risk. This isn't a card of risk. This is a card of beginning. I'll say that. I've got a card of risk in here. This is a card of beginning. I've got a card of folly. You didn't draw that one either. This is the card of beginning. Now, beginning is something that doesn't happen without you actually committing to it. So that's how a reversal can change everything around it. It changes the inner child, it changes the addiction, because it's not saying these on their own are a problem. They say these are getting in the way of the dream. Do you follow that? There's a specific purpose to them. There's a specific result. And that means that if you want to start a business, if you want to move forward, you need to just set those aside a bit. You might have to change your behavior or something you're regularly doing. You can ignore the inner child, let it scream, throw its tanty, who cares, right? It only matters, you know, if you pay attention to it. When you have kids, we ignore tantrums when we can. We hear it, and it's annoying and it's stressful, but we know when it's not appropriate as well. So that's for you, Michelle. And then we move on to Drita. Drita, was it love in general or specific love question? I want to talk about love questions, actually. If you don't have a person that you're having a relationship with, and I mean a relationship with at the moment, it's not a love question, it's a future question, it's a potentials, it's a possibility. If you're in a relationship with somebody, married or not, but committed relationship, it's not really a love question, it's more, again, a relationship question in the now. Where's it going? Are we developing? That kind of thing. Is there something going on? If there's a problem, if you've had a fight and you're not sure where it's going to go, then you're looking at healing a relationship or resolving a problem, not just the relationship in general, if that makes sense to everybody. I've been starting to sort of pull this out. Hiya, Susan. Woohoo! I've been starting to pull this out a little bit with relationships, because I'm always finding, and I do mean always, finding people, especially in quickies, but even in my mailbox, and they'll say, I want to know about love, and then they'll ask about 3 different guys. That's not about love, it's about potential. And if you think about the question bearing a huge what do I want to say here? Bearing a lot of influence, if you like, on the answer that you get from the cards. Whether you're asking me whether I think differently or not, the question you ask as you ask it determines how I feel it and receive it. Interesting, right? There's a question also of, what do you really want to know? So I'm going to throw love out there for you, Drita. I'm going to just do 3 cards with a central pivotal card for you, and then we'll pop that in there. There's investigate, happy days, and it's over. So I'm not sure what your intention was. I didn't ask you that, so you'll have to work out where this applies. The investigate reversed means not paying enough attention, usually, thinking you might know something you don't quite know. It means that you don't have the right, or you don't have enough information. When I developed this card, because it's in reverse, it means you definitely don't. When it's up the right way, and this is what I mean about reading reversals, when it's up the right way, it says that you could learn more, that there's more to learn. But when it's up the wrong way, it means that you don't know what you need to know. There is definitely not enough information there. The chances are you won't get that information. So what you think you know, that's the best way I can put that, isn't really correct. We've got the happy days in the middle as the pivotal card, and unfortunately it's actually surrounded by 2 cards which are quite, I'm not going to say negative because they're not, but they're quite in your face, saying no, there's no forward motion at this time for you in love. So that doesn't mean love overall, but at this time. The happy days with the investigators, when you're looking at something, sometimes we see something with I suppose romance or stars in our eyes is probably a more accurate way I want to put things here. When you have, hiya Julie, stars in your eyes. Julie and Mary in the same room, but in 2 different countries. Awesome. Both of these ladies lived in the same area where I had my shop in Pukekohe in Auckland. Back in the day, I've known them both for quite a long time. So the investigate, or not knowing enough, blocks the happy day. So if you saw that example before, these 2 cards here are influencing that pivotal one, or that pivotal one is preventing you from seeing a truth. So it can be optimism or wishful thinking, all of those things. It can be illusion, delusion. It can having this bright image in your eye of how something could be, but you don't know enough, or there's something you clearly don't know, or you have the wrong end of the stick, wrong information. Again, investigate is very much the detective thing in me, where somebody may actively give you bad information, making you think something's possible that isn't and never was. And of course, it's over on the other side of that. Doesn't actually sound like it's a problem. It sounds like to me that at this point in your life, it's going to be more about the fact that the realization frees you, and maybe it opens up other opportunities, allows you to go forward, allows you to take something forward more freely for what you want. So we're talking about happy days, and happy days to me is a card where like everything's going well, everything looks great. When it comes to, say, a relationship reading, then I'd be saying fire on forward. Surrounded by these, it suggests that you may feel that or think that or believe that, but it's not true. So you're going to maybe need to either investigate further, although I don't think you'll get more information because it's reversed, you see. But it's definitely going to stop this happy days thing from going forward. And of course, you end up in the it's over position. There's not really much more to say about that. So we'll move right along. But another word on love querying, when you're asking about love, if you open that up and your question goes, I'd like to know about love in my future, the energy just skips over anything till we get there. And I've tried to explain this a few times, and it seems to fall on deaf ears a lot. So what I'm talking about as a reader is I can read a year from now, or 2 years from now, or 6 months from now. But if you're asking in the now, then what you get is information within the next 4 to 6 weeks, maybe 2 months at the most. And so I'm aware of that. And a lot of people don't want to know if love comes in 6 months or a year or 2 years or 3 years. They want to know what's going on right now, and they limit their understanding and they limit their potential. I've had a lot of people, a lot of women, more women than men for sure, coming about love in general or with a particular person in mind, and they get no from a lot of different readers. They get no repeatedly from me sometimes. And then finally, I've got one girl who actually had been coming to me for a number of years. Now and again, it was maybe one guy here and there every year or so. And she'd say, I've met this guy, what do you think? And I'd say, no, I don't feel it going forward, and so on and so on. And that went on, and about 3 or 4 years later, she came to me and she mentioned this guy, and I just said, oh, this is the guy. She's engaged to him, by the way, now. And she came back so gleeful because I hadn't remembered, but she said, you always tell me no. So when you say yes, I just know. That's right, which is pretty funny. I missed the potential. Oh, the potential is the same. If you're talking about a particular person, you end up in the same position with that. If you're talking in general, it says, for you, Drita, that is, that now isn't the right time for you to get what you want. It's as simple as that. So it's not going to bring you what your higher vision or ideal might be. So that's pretty interesting. Mary, and there was a girl before who asked for, where were we? Brittany, do you have an area you would like? We can't miss Dorothy. It's kind of funny, girls. They're talking about me, you lot. Brittany, if you would like me to address a particular area of your life, can you just pop that in the chat? As soon as you do, I will stop shuffling and we'll have a look. I don't know why these Facebook chats don't actually keep going. I'm not sure what that's about. I think they're set up more for the phone, because when you look at them on the phone, the chats go over the video, which is quite interesting. When I'm looking at somebody else's chat, it seems to have like little lines and all sorts of weird, wonderful things. So you guys are probably seeing more than me. If you have time for me, I'd like to know if my love life is going to improve in the next little while. We'll just see if we can hear from Brittany and then Mary, and then just remind me, Susan, just for the simple reason that I may forget. But if Brittany doesn't get back in a minute, I'll assume she's gone. Reading for Brittany. Thank you so much for helping out there, Drita. And if she doesn't ask for an area, then I'll just do a general, but I'm giving her an opportunity to fire on back. and say what it is she would like, so that we can draw on that for her. I've got my target, focus on you, Brittany. That's my whole thought. My whole process is just your name at the moment. And see if she pops on in there. Hi, Brittany, you asked for a reading. I've asked if you could tell me what you would like. Would you like an area? You can ask for general. Would you like a particular area of your life? Would you like me to draw on for you? If you would, just let me know. That'd be great. And love, no problem. There we go. That whole explanation went to there. I'll do you a 4 card, Brittany. Let's see how we go. So I'll cut that deck for you. The Dark Rose Divination deck. Now I'm running a special just today, and like I did last week, it's on my tarot page. It's on the tarot page. Oh my goodness me. It's on the tarot page, and it's $25 for a 10 card layout via email. It's a full reading, really, 10 cards. If you'd like to pick that up, it's $25 just today only, and I'll take the whole thing away. Your midnight, my midnight tonight, somewhere like that. Here we go. So we've got complications here. So if love tends to get complicated for you, we've got 2 options, since you haven't sort of expressed whether you're in a relationship, although I've got a feeling that we've got maybe a drag between a past and a present, or a present and a future. So there's that feeling for me that you're sort of in and out. We've got a reversed reaper, which isn't actually a bad thing, believe it or not. So you may be going through a little bit of stress within relationships. You may even be struggling to know what's what. You know, you may be struggling to know whether things are going ahead, whether they're just sitting there, what's going on. It might feel, just like this card says, complicated. I'm not really drawn to the shipwreck. That's why there's 2 parts to this, by the way. If I'd had that reversed, I would be really looking at that shipwreck, because it would be the dominant feature for me. But I am looking at this woman. She's running underwater. She's got a weight. And so you may be feeling quite burdened, actually, by what's going on for you. Like, it's really drawing your attention. You may be always thinking about it, that kind of thing. It's stuck, it's heavy, it's weighty, it's not necessarily fun. But you may, this is where the bipolar comes in. You may one minute be like, this will be okay, this is what I want, and the next minute you're like, yeah, but is it really? The bipolar card, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Brittany. The bipolar card is very much one of swinging. You know, it's swinging from one space to the next, swinging from one, not so much a mood, it can be, but in this particular case, it's really about swinging between, do I want this, is this right? You know, we have those conversations in our head which add to the weight and the complications. It's just like, I don't know. In the end, it's very much like, I don't know. And then we've got the neglected card. And I'd say here you just feel like maybe the other person, or in the past too, I think maybe, because I can feel this stretching back a bit, just hasn't had the right amount of time for you, hasn't given way for you, hasn't paid attention to you, or hasn't made allowances for who you are as a person. I don't know if that all makes sense, because I said quite a lot there, but they all feel to be right, not just one of them. So it may be just that you feel that partnerships in the past, or this partnership that we're looking at here, is just not offering you what it is you're looking for. But you kind of like the guy, or you like the person, and you sort of think there must be potential there. And this is where I'm seeing these lightning strikes, that, yeah, there is potential, but a lightning strike lasts 3 or 4 seconds max. And then it's gone. Poof. So it may be that it's an intermittent kind of relationship, or an intermittent connection that sort of comes and goes and just doesn't quite find solid ground for you. And I think you're at that moment where you're a little bit over it, a little bit thinking, I just don't feel loved. I guess that's the way I'm going to put it. I just don't feel loved, or I don't feel like I can be loved, if it's more history than present, because I keep going back, which makes me feel like we've got a bit of history. Or you could be straight after that and thinking about forward motion, and these are all in play because of your experiences. So it's a little bit interesting. This really is like a flash in the pan kind of energy, Brittany, where, you know, it's just not how you envision things to be, and it makes you feel less important than you really are, which I think is a bit sad. I think you've taken a little bit on board. Again, why I keep going back is I feel layering up here of feeling as not as important as you'd like to feel. What we don't have is an ending. That's the thing. So the Reaper here is reversed, and reversals work two ways. Now, upright, this card says, you know, it's going to happen. It's just going to go, and it's all over. Unfortunately, in the reverse, you are more likely to think about ending. You are likely to have it even overwhelm your mind, and even before you start something, you may be thinking of the ending of it. You know, I don't want to get hurt again, so I don't want to start again kind of mentality. And this, while it may stick all through your mind, you may go through the hoops and do everything but end it. So my advice, and I do have some, my advice based on poor old Drita, it's over, slap. Haven't even started and it's over. What the hell is this woman talking about? This one's a process though, and this process is interesting insofar as no, the happy days wasn't good because of what was around it. I've got to say that around it prevented the happy days. See that bit? Prevented it. That means that any happiness would be short-lived probably. This suggests that you're likely, Brittany, to go on like this for a while. And so you may need to work out a way to stop it, not stop the relationship. If you don't want to leave it, or if you don't know how to get into a new one nice and fresh without feeling like you're dragging all of this with you, because this is what we call baggage right here, you may want to just work out a way to find within yourself a level of healing to bring you up to a point where what you say and what you do reflects who you are and what you want. It's pretty important, you know. And sometimes partners, even if they've been doing something for a long time, will surprise us, because there's a tendency to keep going in at something the same way. But if you've got to keep saying something all the time, if you keep going, you know, I've got to work to get time out of this person, da da da, sometimes it's really just a matter of not doing that, just doing it differently, doing it in such a way that you feel empowered. Even if it doesn't necessarily work out, you will already have learned something about yourself. I do think it's interesting. So because we've got the bipolar energy between being neglected and it's complicated, that's very much the energy of making excuses, I think, to not take action or to hold on to feelings and emotions. So where I would stand here with this Reaper is, if you do want to finish it, then work on settling that in your mind, in your heart, in your soul, if you like. If you really don't, then work on how can it be resolved. And that's not about you chasing after somebody or enabling them. That's just about doing things differently. We teach people how to treat us. And once we've done that, it can be a little tricky to undo it, to change it. I've got to go back to Mary was the next, or Julie. I'm not sure now. Mary, we'll go Mary and Julie. Does that sound fair? And Mary, what did you want? Mary, reading about, I'm sorry, I might have missed it. And as soon as you tell me in the comments, I will draw the cards. Stop shuffling anyway. And then I'll blabble on for a while, and then I'll draw the cards, because that's how I function. I'm really happy with these cards. I've had them for a bit over 2 weeks now, I think, or just on 2 weeks. General, okay. General for Mary. I want to say money bags before I even open the cards out. Okay, now here I said before, sometimes we just pick the deck up the wrong way. So I've got 3 reversed, which will come around, and 1 upright, which will go reversed. You follow that, people? That's pretty funny. Gina, girl. So what we've got here is the deception. Deception was one of the hardest cards for me, because I also wanted to call it distraction. And to me, it's the same thing, by the way. If we get distracted by something, or if we allow ourselves to be distracted by something, then we are sort of deceiving ourselves, whereas it can sometimes be deception from somebody else trying to distract us from what's really going on. In this particular case, we've got gifts reversed right beside it, and it matters a lot because you may be telling yourself, or you may be thinking something's going to turn out really, really well, but in actual fact it is. Oh, I gotcha. I know I gotcha. But not in the way you expect. The gifts is reversed. You're going to have to do this for yourself, basically. You're going to have to step up. It's not going to be done for you. I'm so mean. If Mary had known me for years, I would never have done that to her. And if they weren't brand new cards, she could have read them herself. She would have known what was up. But because they're brand new cards in their mind, everybody's like, oh my God, no. So we've got deception and reverse gifts. And so to me, I think that you're going to get the results that you would like in general, but you need to do it for yourself, and don't let yourself get distracted. This is where this card comes in. Don't let yourself be distracted. Think about what it is that you want, where it is you want to take it, and just stay focused on that. And if you do, you'll be just fine. Everything. And I do want to say everything will be just fine. There's possibly a need to let go of memories that are causing you a bit of problem. So that's literally saying let go of the recent past, let go of the past that isn't necessarily bad, and allow yourself to move forward. And I think this is interesting because it's blocking what we call your gift in this case. So with this side of it, I'm seeing it as blocking your gift. With this side of it, I see it as you needing to do for yourself, get things happening the way you want them happening, and just keep driving forward. Here's your goal. What do I need to do today? See, you're going to see this again and again, daily goals. What do I need to do tomorrow? What do I need to do tomorrow? What do I need to do tomorrow? And pop that out there every single day. And I keep seeing money bags, by the way. So don't forget that bit because that's wrapped up in here. But I do think you'll be doing it for yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that either. We don't have to have other people supporting us. We don't have to have other people making it okay. If they don't like it and you do it anyway, if they don't support you and you do it anyway, your message to yourself is, I'm doing it anyway because this is me and this is how I want to present. This is what I want to do. And this is the things that I would like for my life. And so quite a valuable message. And then we've got memory and friendship. I think that we've got a few old friends in play here. Today especially. That's quite funny. And even if I do say so myself, but today especially. But yes, I've got friendships in here, older friendships, not just new friendships coming into play. And I think you'll be spending quite a bit of time, or you'll have a lot of input and communications with people that you've known for quite some time, and quite likely an old friend finding their way back into your life to a certain extent or in some way. It feels pretty good to me. In the memory card, I'm really drawn to the castle in here. So sometimes we build up a fantasy, an ideal. That's a Disney castle, just saying. Don't tell them though. Sometimes we build up a fantasy in our mind and nothing can live up to that. So sometimes we also need to back off a little bit and go, okay, reality's got problems, fantasy does not. Fantasy looks awesome, but it isn't always what we need and what we want, or it's not necessarily the best thing for us. So I hope you enjoy that, Mary. A little bit of hard work in there, I think, but nothing untoward, you know, just straight up, head down, get on with it. Mags, did you want a reading? Didn't know for sure. Susan definitely wants one. If you're up beyond the chat that I can see, which of course is Susan's at the top there, let me know. I'll go with Susan until Mag sort of pops in and lets me know. So Susan was love, yes, because again, I just wasted my whole explanation about the right way to ask that question. Or the best way, not the right way. How are you, Karen? Great to see you again. Excellent, Mary. Wonderful. Money bags. I'll be looking you up, money bags. MB, Mary Bowen. MB, money bags. Okay, Susan. Travel. Attitude, trickster. I've still got the deck upside down, so do not panic. You may have plans for travel and you may even discuss it with someone, but it won't happen. That's what the reverse travel means. It means basically you are looking for, oh, look at that go. So basically improvement in love and, sorry, I'm going to redo that now that I've got a question. My bad. It's gone. Don't look at it again. Need advice in career? Certainly look at that for you. Certainly look at that for you, Karen. So love, improvement in a love friendship. Friendship or relationship? It is a relationship, you know what I mean. Okay, Susan, for you, got it sussed. 4 cards. Shadows, attention, asylum, and mirror. Now we've got 2 up, 2 down. I'm going to assume that they're the right way, going the right way. It's got this new thing. Oh, wow. It says there's 2 new comments that I'm not looked at, and then it goes down 4, 3. Shadows, Susan. So shadows up the right way. Did we get this for you before? It's really going to be, in this case, I'm just saying building bridges. It's really important not to be looking under the bridge while you're trying to build a bridge. It's pretty important to keep your eye directly on what you're building towards something or towards another person. I think that will work really well. We've got the attention reverse, so this explains a little bit here. You may feel a bit neglected. You may feel like somebody's not paying you the attention that you want. But there's right attention and wrong attention with this card. It's a little bit different to neglect. It's one about reasons and what a person's paying attention to and what for and why. So you may be looking for, this is how I'm seeing this, you may be looking for holes where there aren't really any because of your expectation. I don't know if that makes sense to you, attention-wise, not in general. It's an interesting thing, you know, because I can remember when I was a teenager, which is a lot of years ago, a girl and a boy would go out with each other once a week, and they may call. We only had landlines. They may call once or twice during that week after work or whatever, never during work. You just didn't do it. Weren't allowed to take calls in any job I've ever worked in, even now. Well, I work for myself and don't let myself take calls. Do you like that? But most people aren't allowed to take calls in their place of work during work time. And back then, that was it. Every Friday night, it was exciting because you'd go out with your boyfriend, you'd have a great time, they'd drop you off at home, or if you did stay overnight, you'd stay overnight and they'd drop you off at home the next day. And that would be it for the week because there was public transport mainly. Oh, it's just a different time, I guess. But it does lead to reality expectations. Now, because we have this, everybody can get in touch with everybody anytime they feel like, we have this idea that they should be doing that. They shouldn't be really focused on anything else. The earlier you are in a relationship, especially if you're in a relationship with a bloke, and I say that because not everybody is, but especially in a relationship with a bloke, his thoughts aren't the same as a girl's thoughts. He's not thinking, you know, oh, I've got to get in touch with my girlfriend because I didn't speak to her for half an hour, or I've met this lady and I like her, I need to get in touch with her constantly. This is something that builds up. So I've got the feeling here that maybe you just need to ride that bit out, not be too worried about it. Allowing it to overwhelm you could get in the way of something good. In fact, are we ready? You're going to love this, is why I laugh. They might think you're crazy. I'm just playing with you, but it was a good play. I actually really enjoyed saying that to you, Susan. Sorry, I shouldn't have enjoyed it so much, should I? You're needing money bags to fix this place up. Oh, that's funny right there. But I do see money for you, so you might get it. So I've really got that feeling. Don't let it drive you crazy. Don't be the crazy lady because you feel like you're not getting enough, and really focus on positive ways to get attention. I think this is the important bit, you know. If somebody doesn't get in touch with you for a few days or a week and you get in touch with them and they're friendly and they're nice and everything's wonderful, not a problem. If you want them to be in touch with you more, there's really only one way that can happen, is that if they're enjoying the time that they're talking to you or the amount of time that they're spending with you. So they do think I'm crazy. Well, there you go. So you're in the zone, baby. There's that whole understanding of how do you get attention. The girls are so bad at this so much of the time. How do you get attention in positive ways and make that so that the other person wants to spend more time with you? Because that's how relationships build. It starts off with yeah, this is fun, this is nice, and this is really good. I'm really loving this. I really want to spend more time with this person, spend more time enjoying that time, because when we feel good about things, we want to do it more. And so then it builds and builds until you get to a point where they go, you know what, I just really don't want to not be with you anymore. And then you progress to the next level. So you've got that going on. We got the mirror here. See that? Reversed. That means that you may be playing the same game. You may be not applying the right attention to them, or they may feel that as well, and so you're getting what you give. I don't know if you get that, and I don't want it to be insulting, and it's not intended to be, but the mirror reverse is very much about the chances are good that what you're experiencing or how you're experiencing this love friendship is pretty much the way you're giving it. And so maybe you need to look at that a little bit and see if, you know, if you're going to be cagey, if you're going to be distant, if you're going to hold yourself, if you're going to say, look, I don't want rejection, so I'm not going to tell them how I feel, then don't expect it from them. And the older we get, the less you can expect from them. If you don't put it in the frame, it's not coming back out of the frame at you. So it's not really about demanding something and saying, I want more attention. Pay me attention. I'm insecure. It's about saying, I think I really enjoy spending time with you. I'm going to pay you lots of attention, but I'm not going to be nutty about it. I'm not going to get in touch with you every 10 minutes and let you believe that I'm a clingy person. So I hope that can help you out there. The mirror card, I think, was the definitive one for you. That, you know, if you come sort of a bit old school and you think the guy should get in touch with you all the time, you're probably not right. If you feel like you're the only one getting in touch with them and they're never really getting in touch with you, then you're still probably right. Do you follow that? So a little bit cray. Now, who have I not done yet? Julie, Mary, Julie, I think that's right. And then Karen, I think I've got it. If I've missed you, anybody, let me know. And so today we focused a bit on reverse cards, but also how they impact a layout. And they can impact a 10-card layout by being in one position. It impacts everything after it. Quite an important thing to understand. And whose name did I say? Julie. Julie. Career. Okay. Career for Julie. These 4-card readings, if you're reading for yourself, like keep turning the deck upside down. If you're reading for yourself, make sure there's a complex enough question. And when you're reading for yourself, if you look at, I'm going to plug the book again, Dorothy Holder's Ultimate Guide to Reading Cards, you'll actually see that I recommend positions for cards. I'm a reader, and even then, okay, I associate it's fine. But if I was reading for myself, then I probably would choose positions for cards. So I'm not editing myself. I'm not trying to work things out for myself, that kind of thing. Julie. So we've got neglected reverse. That means maybe you are really looking for a singular focus career-wise. Maybe there's something in there, because I've got the romance right there, of course, and there's that singular ideal, I guess, the ideal of the ultimate job, the best job, the right job, all of that sort of thing. You can narrow your focus down too much when you just really want to do something that reflects a part of you. It doesn't have to be your rest of your life. It doesn't have to be the whole you. Interestingly enough, because I've got the romance there, romance isn't the long-term thing. So it's likely career-wise that you will be on a contract, or you'll find something that offers a contract, or something that isn't necessarily feel like you'll have it for the long haul. So you may even be in a contract now that you know is coming to an end at some point, or the romance is over, darling, that kind of a thing. We do get what we're looking for. This is the karma card, and it really does mean that for me. I keep trying to get up close here because there's stuff in here you just can't really make out from the distance. You certainly can't see the colour of that boom through there. Hey, Mags and Drita, did you get those extra cards I sent from the Sacred Souls Oracle deck? Could you let me know? I thought about it a couple of times, and then I forgot to ask you girls if you'd received them. So with the karma, it's not about good or bad karma in a reading like this at all. It's very much about you're going to get what you focus on, and you're going to get what reflects where you are in the moment. For example, if your thought process, Julie, is one of, you know, well, I'm here for now, then you'll only find a for now job or career. If you want to commit to something, then you need to think, this is what I want to place out there, and I want that for the next 5 years, say, in your mind, and then you'll start seeing the opportunities around that. I am thinking very much, though, that the next step isn't necessarily going to reflect deeply what it is that you would like for yourself. You got yours, and ordered a set for my sister. Oh, marvellous, thank you. Is that your wonderful artist sister? There's that beautiful idea here of, you know, working towards something, training for something, getting the job then becomes karma, if you like. There's the result of all that effort and hard work. But I've got a feeling that maybe it's not going in the way that you envisioned or the way that you would like. I've got those sort of feelings around it anyway. Fantastic, girls. Glad to hear it. I was just starting to think, I should have probably known by now whether you did or not. So there's that feeling around it for me. So if you've undergone training, or if you're thinking of more training, I suggest, Julie, that you think very carefully about it. And the interesting thing here is we've got the word justice. I don't know if you're thinking of being in a justice system or a system that judges or assesses others. And assessment is judgment. I don't care what anybody wants to say about that. Justice and judgment, all of those things come from a place where we have to decide the middle ground. In the eyeball here, I don't know if you can see it if I hold it up, but in that eyeball there's the scales of the, and you can see her, blind justice right there. So a bit interesting. The key here is you may need to look under the shade. You may need to look a little bit obliquely at what it is you want to put out into the world. The feeling that I've got from all of these, you know, is that you've sort of narrowed your focus down to something, you've isolated something, it doesn't feel long term, and you'll need to choose again. And I don't know quite whether you're in the choose again zone right now. There's your karma, that you took something you knew was short term or knew maybe contracted, and or even, you know, temporary part-time, might even be part-time, but you want more. Either way, there's more wanted at the end of it, and like a romance, it doesn't quite go there. And so now you need to focus a little bit more, I think, broaden the focus, widen it out so that you're not ignoring opportunities that may be more suited to what you want in the long term. So karma also represents that longer term, you know, choice, consequence, action, result, that kind of thing. So it's a bit interesting to me. I'm really drawn to this justice card in relation to the question. It just sort of feels like, you know, sometimes the word fear comes, F-A-I-R, comes into play with this card. Don't think that's there for you today. I just think it's more like look under the curtain to see things more clearly rather than through the curtain. So that could be just what you think is right as opposed to what is right for you. Maybe not quite the same thing. I don't think completely different, but not quite the same thing. Sometimes it's not what we're doing, it's how we're doing it. You know, when it comes to a job, you can work on a computer in 2 different places and love it in one place and not enjoy it in another, that kind of thing. Thank you. Yes, I'm definitely looking for a change. The romance has come to an end with what I'm doing now. So at the end of all of that, Julie, the suggestion is to broaden how you're looking at what you can do, and I think really look at what reflects who you are as a person rather than I can do this or I learnt to do that, but this is how I want to do things. When you get that right, you'll find that you're happier for longer and things go well. And then I've got Karen in there. Mags, was that a yes for a reading? I didn't grab that. I've got Karen. And if I've missed anybody, Karen, Mags, if I've missed anybody, can you just jump on and say, me, please? Because forgetting people isn't something that I'm not known to do. I'll go Karen first till I hear back from Mags. Poor Mags, she gets shoved to the back. Karen, it was career, I believe. So 4 we go for you. We've got a crazy girl again. Oops, I went 5. It just happened. It just happened. I was starting to count and then all of a sudden I had 5. We've got wishes reversed. That usually is going to mean that something you believed would happen didn't. the asylum obviously has that crazy aspect to it, but in this one I'm really just sort of seeing like being torn between a number of different frames of mind here, being torn emotionally about something. Maybe it shouldn't affect you emotionally because it is career. I'm very strong on not getting emotionally attached to jobs, people and jobs, that kind of thing. It's a bit of a mission when you tie the two things together. Being in a job where you like everybody and enjoy them is great, but they're not your family and they're not necessarily your deep-rooted friendships. Some people can be, but at the end of the day, it's a job. So I think that's gone a bit skew with here for you, and either the demands on you were maybe too much, or at the end of the day, it was more than you wanted to give. It's just got that feeling to it that it just gets a bit crazy or a bit out there. We've got the unknown card, which of course is everybody's enemy. The unknown card. I want to know about my career. Well, we've got the unknown card. I think it's going to be a process. And I think you're going to end up in a job that you used to do or working for somebody that you used to work for. So that's you out. No, I'm kidding. Just playing. It's definitely going to be a bit of a process. I think you're either going to need to advance your training, and you may need to do that without being sure why or what you'll get out of it. So those two, to me, are a big deal. It's about just starting to do it, starting to advance it, starting to deal with how you can take yourself forward in the best way for you, with your skill sets and how you want to work, what kind of income you want, those kind of things. I don't think that the training necessarily has to come way before a job, but I do pretty much think that that it's a part of the process of getting a job. But I do have this past influence in here. So it suggests that even if it's for a different company, it may be a job you've done before, and your advanced skills allow you to do it in the way that they want you to do it. It could even be on the job training here, by the way. And sometimes it's just different computer systems. Some in a modern world, there's that kind of factor, a long process. You love that, do you? But again, I come back to that past jobs, past persons you worked for. I think maybe a person either giving you a job or telling you where to get a job, telling you where to go, telling you where to get a job. I think that I think you'll have this all clear. Don't cry by March. But I think by March, like 3rd to the 5th of March, I've got those very clear. 3rd to the 5th of March, I see you fully engaged in the future of your career rather than what's gone before. And this feels to be fine. But I get that whole process, if you like, that sort of stepping through into that as being like you don't know till the last minute. So it could be too that somebody says, look, if you do this and you do that, we can have you over here in this job doing this, but there's no guarantee. Maybe that's that whole feeling of the unknown I'm talking about here, that it's sort of like it's not the last minute that you get the job, but it's the last minute that it's confirmed. So you may feel like you're just sort of, oh, what if I'm doing all of this for nothing, kind of a feeling going on in there. And I'm assuring you you're not. So we've got you settled again, March 3rd to the 5th, 3:30 in the afternoon on a sunny day. Just kidding. 3:30 in the afternoon might not be kidding, but the sunny day, not even I can predict the weather. Is there anybody I have missed? Have I missed anybody? Let me know, because now's the time to jump on in and say, yes, you missed me. And if I missed you, then you need to say so now or forever hold your peace. Because we're coming up to the top of the hour. Well, when I say top of the hour, we've been here for an hour. March is good. Perfect. Is that a nice transition time for you? Does that sort of cover your end to the next start? I certainly wouldn't worry about it at all. It feels very comfortable to me, really, for you. And happy birthday. I see you just had a birthday. How old are you now? 27, maybe 35? So that's fabulous. And you're loving your new house, are you? Gosh, I think that the last picture I saw of it, it was half finished. So interesting, right? Everybody's happy. Nobody seems to be screaming for a reading. Mags, I'm just here to learn, but thank you. Did I miss anybody? I'm sure I didn't. I'm sure I'm a good girl today. I'm sure I'm a good girl today. Fantastic. So I want to thank everybody for coming. Take a note of the special. Go and have a look at the cards. The link's in the top of the show blurb there. There's a little link to just go and have a look at the cards. Or I think I put one there. I might have forgotten. But it's there somewhere. And in the meantime, everybody, have a wonderful afternoon. Take care of yourself. And remember this week, because I'll probably come back next week to do something different, don't be a part of your own problem. Ciao for now.